Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. So today I'm trying to make a cake. So like I told you, I do a lot of lazy cooking. So I wanted to make a box cake, but it's not exactly a box, but it's still classified as a box cake. So what am I making this box cake with? It is that. It's the Wright's chocolate fudge cake mix. That's what I'm going to be using to make this cake. So I've made cake where I've made it from scratch, and you know that takes a lot. Not necessarily, but still for me it takes a lot to do that. And then I've made box cakes. I've actually made box cakes with vegetables, so that's one of the things that I'm going to do. So after this cake, the next cake I'm going to be making this cake with vegetables. So the difference with this one, apart from the fact that I'm going to put vegetables, is I'm going to make it on a stove, not in the oven, on a stove using my salad master saucepan. But today I'm just going to be making this cake using the silicone. Why do I keep saying silicone? Silicone containers. That's what I'm going to be using today's one. So the next one I'll be putting cabbage, red cabbage, white cabbage, carrots, radishes, what else? Celery. So why don't you come back and watch that one? But for today's one, it's just going to be plain cake. And today is my friend's birthday, so I just wanted to make this cake for her without putting vegetables. But although I've made the ones with vegetables and people have eaten it and they really loved it, even a little kid that thought it was not going to taste good actually sat there and finished the whole cake. So this is what I'm going to be making. Let's look at the rest of the ingredients that I'm going to be using. All right, so this is what I'm going to be using. It is 500 grams, and it does say to make this cake, you need this cake mix, you need 200 ml of water and 60 ml of, which is 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil. That's all it says you need. But for me, I always do something different. So I'm going to be putting 2 eggs in it. I'm going to be putting this milk in it. I'm also going to be putting some super honey, ground cinnamon, bicarbonate soda, or you can use baking powder. I'm going to be putting this salted caramel. I'm going to put nutmegs, and finally this Madagascar vanilla extracts. So that's what I'm going to be using for my cake. So let's start. So before I start that, the first thing I need to do is preheat my oven. So as usual, go there, switch that on. And then this is the oven, so I need this on. So I'm just gonna turn it. It's going to be difficult pressing that and pressing that, because I need to press this at the same time as I'm pressing this so that I can get this on. So it's on now, so I can just hold this down for a few minutes or a few seconds while it stays, and then I would let go. So now my oven is on. Can you see the flame? So I need to turn down the heat, turn it down to 1, because I just need it preheated. So that's it. That done, the next thing I need to do is line these containers with oil. So you could use butter to line it, but I prefer to use oil because it's less messy. Also, using oil means that when I try to take the cakes out of this, it's so much easier to take it out. So this is the shape the cake is going to take when I finish with this one. And for the second one, this is the shape the cake is going to take. So it's going to come up saying cookies on it, and it's going to be brown because I'm making a chocolate cake. So now these ones have been lined, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place them there in this, because I'm going to put it on this tray to put in the oven. And then the second one I'm going to put in that tray to cooking. So that leaves me with a little bit more space to do what I need to do in this kitchen. I need some water because I'm coughing a lot. Okay, so let's get this done. So we open this. I got this yesterday. I'm going to go out again and buy another one, and that is what I'm going to be using to do the second cake with the vegetables. Now I've used so many different boss cakes, but this is the one that I find that I love the best, so I always use this one. Also, if you look at this, where's the ingredients? So if you look there, that's what it has. It's got sugar, wheat flour, it's got egg in it already, rapeseed oil, cocoa powder, 7% of it, 6.5% of chocolate crumbles. It's got sugar, full cream milk, cocoa mass. Then it's got these raisin agents and cellulose fiber, whey powder, which is a milk, and flavoring, salt. And so if you just make the cake just with this and just the water and oil, it is fine. You will be able to make your cake and it will still come out delicious without adding all these extras that I'm going to be adding. But for me, I like to add all those things, and especially because I'm making it for a friend and it's her birthday, so I want it to be extra special. So the next thing that I'm going to do is the 2 eggs. So I'm going to put it on the side there. So that's that one. Then the next thing I need to put, sorry, I need to take a sip of water, is this. Now, because I'm using one hand, I would have normally measured it out, maybe 1 spoon or 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, but I'm just going to eyeball it and just pour it in there. So the next thing that I'm going to put is my ground cinnamon. Again, I would have put a teaspoon, but because I'm using one hand to film, I'm just going to again eyeball put it in. So that's it in there. Can you see this different color there of that? So that's the cinnamon that is gone in there. Then I need a nutmeg, again just a quarter of the teaspoon. So I'm just going to put it on the other side so you can see the different color there. So now the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to put this salted caramel. So let's see if I can steady this and get it so you can see it properly. Okay, so that's so much better. So salted caramel, I usually use it for when I make coffee at work, so I will pour that in it, but today that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to be using it for this cake. So let's open it up. Okay, I'm gonna pause this and open it with 2 hands. Okay, so I've opened it, I've poured some of it, so that's how much I've put there. So you can put as much as 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon depending on how sweet you want it. So this is about 1 teaspoon that I've put in. So now I'm going to put my oopsie daisy, I'm going to put the bicarbonate soda in here. So I'm just gonna take a little bit, that's how much I'm putting, and then I'm gonna put it on the side. So the reason I'm putting it on different side is just so that you can see the amount that I'm putting. You can put it together if you want. It's not gonna be a problem if you put it together. I'm only just putting it separately so you can see the difference. Now the next thing that I'm going to put is that the vanilla. So again, 1 teaspoon should be fine. So that's it there. So again, 1 teaspoon should be fine. I'm trying to open it up, and I'm just going to eyeball pour it in because I'm using my other hand for the camera. So I'm just gonna pour it up there. I like to pour it where the liquid is, because if not, one section of this cake will just absorb the whole syrup, the whole what is it called again, vanilla extract. So I want to avoid that. So the next thing that I need to do, I have to put oil, and I need to put, like it says here, let's see if I can stay there, I have to put 4 tablespoons. You can do that, or you can put 60, you can put some butter in it. Again, I prefer to use oil when I'm making instead of using butter, so I prefer to use my sunflower oil. Now it's going to be a bit tricky trying to do this with the oil. Again, I'll pour the oil on this side, so where the liquids are, I put all the liquid. Where the powders are, I put all the powders. So let's try pouring this with one hand and see how that goes. So again, we need 4. So the first one, and then pouring the second one, and then pour it, that's 2. The third one, that's it, and the last one, that's the 4th one, and then it goes in there. So I need to cover this oil, and it's going to be put away soon. So I'm going to rinse my hand, as you can see, get my hand rinsed out, and then because I want to scoop the rest of this oil into this base, turn this around, scoop the rest of the oil in here. So I'm just going to put this spoon to the side, and again I'm going to wash my hand. So the hands is washed. Now the last thing that I'm going to put, but not the least, is my oil, so my milk. So I've got 60 mils of milk in here. It says to put water, but I'm just putting this 60 ml. Then I'm going to put another 60 ml of water in it. So, but it's going to be cold water. So I'm just going to, this is the section I should be looking at. So it's now up to 60 ml. So I'm just going to put a little bit more. That's it. Okay, so because I've put a lot of egg in it, so I have to adjust the amount of milk or water that I'm going to be putting in it. Now the next thing I need to do is that I'm going to use this and whisk it. Now usually when I used to make cake many years ago, well, when I started making cake many years ago, I'll follow the recipe of the books. So I'll usually mix the powders together separate, whisk the liquids on separately, then I mix them and fold in the powder into the things that I've done, and I'll just gently fold it in, and that gives me a lighter cake. But now again, the lazy way of cooking, I just chuck everything in and I start baking it. I mix it, and that is it, and it's always turned out good and it tasted good. So that's what we're doing today, quick and easy way. So again, I've had this for, oh my god, over 20 years. My Old Faithful is a Philips one, so I've plugged it in to the wall. So now I'm just going to attach this to these ends here. So bear with me while I use my hand, push this in, and it's in place. For the next one, push it in, and it's in place. So now I'm just going to turn it on, and then I'm going to whisk it. Now when you're whisking it, I always suggest to start from where the liquid is. So I'm going to put a little bit of this water in here. I'm not going to put all of it yet because I don't want it to be too liquidy. Then I'm going to start from the lowest setting. If you see that, you see, let's see if I can get it. So there's a number 1, 2, 3. So that's where I'm gonna do, start from there. For some reason it's not showing properly. I wish it would show properly, but yeah, you can see it now. So I'm just gonna go to 1. Now I always start from where the liquid is. If not, it will start spilling all over the place. So I start with the liquid and blend it. Okay. And then gradually move forward, grab the powders. So now I'm going to turn it off again, and then I'm going to put some of that liquid again, the rest, and then continue to mix it again, starting from where the liquid is. I'm using one, and then I fold it in. I don't want to whisk it too hard, because what I want it to be doing is folding the powder into the liquid. So just gently. Now once I've got almost all the powder, then what I'm going to start doing is moving it around. Okay. I don't want this batter to be very liquidy. I don't want it too watery, so that's why I don't pour all the water in there. I just put them according to how I need it. So, and I don't whisk it too much. And remember, I'm whisking it on setting 1. Okay, so that's that done, and it's all done. So if I taste this one, very tasty. If you notice, I didn't put any sugar, but if you want, you can put sugar in it. Most times I will put like dark sugar in it, but in this one I haven't put any sugar, and it's quite very tasty. So the next thing I'm going to do is pour it into those containers, which is these ones, but I need 2 hands to do it, so I'm going to show it to you once I finish pouring it. So I'll get back to you soon. So I just thought before I pour it, I wanted to show you, this is the sort of sugar that I will use. So I'll use a golden sugar, or I'll get like the dark chocolate. So if I'm making like normal vanilla cake or normal sponge cake, I'll just use this sort of caster sugar. And usually when I'm making these ones, I will use the dark brown sugar. I don't think that I have any, because I feel I used it to do the turkey the other day, so I might not have any. Another thing that you could put is alcohol, but usually I would put this when I've put fruits in it. So I usually will soak the fruits in this sort of alcohol. I'm going to show you. Let me open this and I'll show you. So that's what I'm talking about. You use brandy, you soak it. So I have very little remaining now. So I would usually soak my the fruits in brandy overnight, and then blend it before I put it in there, because most people don't like to see the fruits in it, but you want to get the flavor of the fruits, so you put it. But whenever I use those raisins, I'm very careful when I'm putting sugar, because I don't want it too sweet. But you also don't have to wait until you put fruits in the cake before you could put your brandy. So I'm just going to open this and show you what I mean. So that's it. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of brandy in it. I don't want it to be too liquid, so I'm just going to put just a tiny bit of brandy. But you can put a little bit more if you want. But bear in mind that when you're putting that, you make sure that your liquid that you're putting is less. You put less liquid in it. And then with this, you can, like I said, you can put caster sugar. But so I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to put this caster sugar in here. Let's open it up and pour some caster sugar in it. Again, I cannot eyeball it because I've been, baking for so many years. So I eyeball it, but usually it would be, maybe if I use a tablespoon, I think this should be about 6 or 7 tablespoons. That's what I've put in there. Let's make it 6 or, yeah, about 7. Yeah, this should be about 7 tablespoons that I've put in there. Now, if I was baking, and this is the reason I'm doing this, because this already has sugar according to this. If I was baking from scratch, I will collect the same amount of sugar. That's the same amount of flour that I'll put together. So if you're baking from scratch, always, if you measure out, you know, 1 pound of sugar, then you measure out 1 pound of flour. If you measure out 50 mil, it's not mil, 50 no, liters of not what did I say, liters, anyway, whatever amount of sugar that you measure out the same amount of flour and mix it together if you're making it from scratch. But because I'm using this and it already has sugar, I'm just putting a little bit of amount of sugar into this just to make it even a little bit sweeter too. So that done, I'm gonna have to whisk it again because I want to whisk this into the cake. So again, turn it to 1 and then whisk that in. Gently whisking into the cake by going round and round. I can actually smell the alcohol right now. So whisk that in, and it's all done. Just get it out. And then I'm going to now pour it in. So I will show you when I've poured it in. Look at what it looks like. That's the thickness of it. I'm going to use the bottom of this spoon to lift it so you can see. That's the thickness. It's not watery. Okay, I'll come back and show you when I've poured it in the bowl. Okay, so that is one there, and that's the second one. Now, because I separated them out, the size of the cake is not going to be very, very big. But anyway, even then, when you're making a cake, do not fill it up because your cake rises, and if it rises, it's just going to go over and form a dome. So you want it to be level. And then also, if you're making like you want to make a cake where you have an icing in the middle. So if you bake 2 different cakes, then that means that you can put your icing and lay it on the top instead of making one cake and then cutting it. But you can cut it. I tend to do the cutting myself and just cut it and then put the icing in the middle, put the cake on top of it. But then you can have 2 different ones. I have so many different containers for making cakes, so each of them would give me different shapes. This one gives me the cake, the shape that I showed you. So we're going to bake it now. Now, usually when I bake it on this, I would put it in there on gas max 4 or 5, and then bake it for 60 minutes. But because the sizes are quite small, it shouldn't take that long to cook. So let's put them in the oven. I'm going to put it one at a time. I'm not going to bake the 2 of them at the same time. Just going to bake them one at a time. And then when I finish, I put the next cake in. So let's put the first one. And I always make sure that I have a big space here, because if the cake rises too much, it will just go and get stuck on this, and I don't want that. So leave it enough space. And then that's the cake baking, and then I'll come back and show you when both have finished baking and what they look like. See you soon. So it's 30 minutes. Let's look at the cake. Okay, so that's the cake and it's risen. So I'm going to get something to pierce it and make sure that it is done. So I'm gonna use this is what I use. It's a skewer, and I use it to check the cake. So I also need that to grab that. So let's go. Let's pull it out of it. So can you see it's completely risen, and then poke it in and it's coming out clean. If I poke it, it's coming out clean. So once you poke it and it comes out clean, it means the cake is done. So now what I'm going to do is pull this out, because the cake is finished. And then I'm going to grab the next one, which is this one, and then I'm going to put it in and then leave it to start cooking. So again, 30 minutes for that one. Let's go. So that's that cake. Once it's completely done, I'm going to turn it out. I need it to cool down first. So once it's cooled down, I'm going to turn it out and you will see what it looks like. It's always very important that you leave it to cool, because when it cools it contracts in, and then you're able to take it out carefully and retain the shape of the cake that you want. So this is what I'll normally do. Grab this. This is made of wood, so the kind of thing that you use to cook your drink, that's what it's made from. So place that there. Then I'm gonna grab this cake. It's quite hot, so be very careful. So I need 2 hands to do this, so I don't want to spoil the cake, so I'm going to use 2 hands on this. All I'm just going to do is just move it over there. Okay, so I've transferred it. Now this is my cake cloth. I only use it for cakes, so what I do is cover it. And the whole point of doing this is I want the moisture to go back in the cake. Sorry, I'm not even showing it to you what I'm doing. So that's the cake. So I just cover it, and I want the moisture to retain the moisture, because then I want the cake to be soft and moist when you eat it. So I'm going to cover it while it's cooling, and then while I let the other cake cook. So we're going to see what the cake looks like when we're done. Okay, so the second 30 minutes is gone, so let's go look at the cake and see what it looks like. So that's the cake. It has risen. So I need the glove. That's the glove. To pull it out, because I don't want to take it out completely until I'm sure that it is done. Okay, so use the skewer and then poke the middle, and it's coming out clean. Poke the middle again. Okay, this part is not coming out completely clean, so I'm just gonna put it right back in there for another 5 minutes. So I'm gonna set my alarm for 5 minutes. So I want this alarm for 5 minutes. Start. All right, come back and check it again. Okay, my alarm for the 5 minutes is going off, so I'm just gonna turn it off, which is dismissive. Now let's go look at the cake and see how far it's gone. Okay, open that, get my gloves again, and try to put the glove on. Pull this out gently, and let's look at the cake. Now where is my stuff? Okay, so I'm gonna be using this again. I cleaned it out, and I'm gonna poke it in there, and let's look at it. It's coming out clean. Let's poke it in further in. Clean, further in, clean, further in there. Not so clean. That side, not so. It's coming out clean this side. So I think what I'm gonna do is just turn it around a little bit. Just turn it around. Let's look at it again. If I poke it in there, clean, poke it there, there. Okay, it's coming out clean. Let's see. Yeah, it's coming out clean, so it's done. So I'm just gonna turn it off now. So I cooked it throughout both the cakes. I cooked them on gas mark 4. The first one was 30 minutes, and this second one is 35 minutes. So that's the cake. Now if you remember, I didn't fill it up. It was just at the bottom. When I put the cake, it was just at the bottom, and look at it, it's risen. How much is risen? And the other one is also risen. So what I'm going to do is I brought out another, put it on the side. I need to get this medicine out of the way because I don't want the heat going on it. So I brought another of this mat, which again is made with corkscrews, and then I'm going to get the cake and place it on the top of it. So I'm just going to be very careful when I'm moving this. I need 2 hands to move this. Bear with me, this is quite hot. So place it over there. Now remember, I told you this is my cake cover, so I use it to make sure that it retains moisture. That's the other cake. So bring them close together and then open out this a bit more and then cover it. So that one is still covered. Now the second one is also covered. Again, I told you that I cover them because I want the moisture, I want it to retain moisture. I want the cake to not be dry out when I cut into them and when people eat it. Just turn this off. So this helps me keep the moisture in. So and that's it. So that's the cake. Now to do is that once I turn it out, I'm going to show it to you. If I wasn't able to do that, what I'm going to do is just take pictures and then show it to you at the end of the video. So see you soon. Bye bye. No, not bye bye, but see you soon. Okay, the moment of truth. So let's get these out. We're going to start with this one. It is cool down now. So what I'm going to do is just gently tip it over and pat it a little bit just to release it a bit. Now let's get it up. So because I've lined it with the oil, it should make it so much easier to take it out here. So let's go. Usually the part that might take a little bit is the middle part, so that's why I'm patting it to release it. So, and there is your cake. That's the inside and that's the cake. Look at that. That's just a gorgeous looking cake. Now can you see the star in the middle? And let's see if we can read that cookie sign on it. Okay, so that is, so you can see cookie, cookie, and all the way cookie and cookie. So that's the one. So this one I'm gonna put in here and get it start soaking. Fill it with water so it's easier to wash later. So now let's try this second one. So that's the second cake. It's still a bit warm, but let's go. Again, I'm just gonna pat the top to release it, and hopefully it should come away easily, or fully just pat. This is cooler, much cooler, because it came out over 30 minutes before this one. So I'm just patting it to release it, and voila, that's the cake. You see that? That's just beautiful cake. Look at that. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous looking cake. And then the other one, look at that. So that's two cakes. One and two. So look at that. It's just beautiful. Then let's look at the containers, and that's the container. And because I lined it with oil, it makes it so much easier for you to pull it out. So again, I'm gonna fill that one with water. This makes it so much easier to wash later. So I need to pour hot water in it. That's it. So that's it for the cakes. And can you see, even from looking at it, you could see that it's moist. I'm not going to be able to cut into it because they don't belong to me. They are cakes that I'm giving to my friend for her birthday, but you could see that it's moist inside, you know, just from looking at it. So until then, my next cake, I'm going to be making a chocolate cake. Like I told you before, it's going to have vegetables in it. It's going to have the white cabbage, the red cabbage, carrots, leek, and so on, and radishes and all sorts of vegetable, and it tastes really, really good. So join me next time when we film that. Take care and see you very soon. Bye.